pleasure to welcome us to a new year, and I look forward to working with the committee this year and really taking the youth and education to new heights. We do have some kind of things we want to go through with the agenda, and we have one presentation. I do want to make sure that we kind of put Xavier on first, because Xavier is here to make an announcement on behalf of the board. But we'll go through the normal spiel. No one may speak, go over the ground rules. No one must speak until granted the floor. CB11 members, if you have a question about board business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized. Members should not engage in a back and forth discussion. The chair will recognize the next person to speak. When recognized, all such remarks for CB11 must be geared towards CB11 business, or questions about topics will be made on the record. Please keep your questions and comments brief and to the topic of discussion. Members of the public, if you have a question or comment about the subject of the agenda, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized. I ain't memorized this so good. So the next, we'll move to the roll call. So Khalid, please conduct the roll call. We don't hear you, Khalid.
You're muted.
Rookie mistake. As a reminder, there are 11 total committee members. 6 are needed for quorum. Karim Kauser. Let me just make sure he's not in attendees. Okay, Rosa Diaz.
Present.
Thank you. David Giordano.
Present.
John Green.
Here.
Annie Hansen.
Here.
Christina Johnson.
Here.
Sage Mason.
Here.
Jennifer Meyer.
Present.
Asher Rodriguez.
I'm present.
Isaac Scott.
I'm here.
Russell Schuler.
Present.
All accounted for except Karim Kauser, Chair.
Thank you, Khalid. Been a pleasure. So I know we have announcements and also the informational updates. The only informational update person present is Rosa Diaz at the moment. I'm not sure if signals got crossed about the meeting. However, what I'd like to do is, we got to go through the adoption of the agenda. I forgot that, sorry. See, a rookie mistake myself. So the agenda was handed out prior to the meeting. We did add an additional agenda item today for Children's Aid to present on the rebuild. That was also resent out. A motion to approve the agenda if there are no objections. So moved. Same. Adoption of the December 2023 minutes, and I want to thank Jennifer for her diligence in getting our minutes done. Our committee is now back on track to getting them regularly done. Hope those were submitted out to the members prior to the meeting. Hopefully everybody got a chance to review. I would like to adopt the minutes. If there are any objections, please raise your hand and we'll be recognized. Dr. Dela Cruz, so good to see you. Without seeing any hand raised, there are no objections, and the adoption of the minutes is good to go. So at this moment, before we get to the general informational updates, we'd like to recognize our board chair that will make an announcement. Thank you, Xavier.
Thank you, David. Everyone, Happy New Year. So good to see you. Unfortunately, we had to pivot and do a virtual meeting given the weather coming in. David had talked to me last year. Still very bizarre saying that as we're only like less than 10 days in. But about nurturing, and one of the big things I've talked about as well is about mentoring and bringing up new leadership. And David has been a pinnacle of that in our years of service together and growing together. And we have also advocated, which was something that was spearheaded by Gail Brewer, our former borough president, about bringing more youth into the community board process. Asher was, I believe in our second class of youth representation from the community. And we've had a great pleasure of all of us working together, and this committee is doing its great work. And what David and I spoke about was about transitioning and passing the torch of leadership, which when David pitched it, I thought it was a brilliant idea, and in keeping with the ethos of the work we do on the board. And I wanted to say that there will be a little bit of a switcheroo going forward, but David is not leaving. He is going to be there, tried and true, continuing that mentorship and about making the next generation even better and brighter with our representation. So, David, I'll pass it back to you, and I'll let you proceed with the kind of impromptu ceremony. But I want to say congrats to all involved. We're all in this together. So thank you.
Thank you, Xavier. And yes, part of my mission is always to promote youth to be better than us. I think that's a global mission in our community and part of this committee. We've been challenged many years. As my leadership in the youth and education for about 8, 9, I don't know. It's been a lot of years. I felt it was like time to turn it over. And what I've preached is bringing on younger people. And we've done that. And we've not only brought on younger people to the board and give young people a voice on the board, and I still haven't hit all the total goals that I want. Still want us to work on a youth task force. However, I think it's time now that I support and continue to mentor my protege that I've worked with for the last 10 years. And as I said to this particular board and this committee, whether you're new members or some of the old members, that I would love to turn over this leadership to a younger person to work with them, to still mentor and work aside with them, but allow them to take the lead and take the reins. And without further ado, I now turn over my chairship to Asher Rodriguez, and I so support him in this role, and I hope that everyone on the committee will continue to support Asher as they have supported me for these many years, and looking for that youth voice to take us forward. Thank you, Asher. I now turn over the meeting to you, and I serve as your co-chair, and I guess that puts me on the Budget and District Needs Committee now by default. So I look forward to joining that committee as well, and taking the advocacy that I've talked about for this committee into City Hall. So I look forward to doing that and taking a more active role on that part of the committee. Asher, the reins are yours. I look forward, and please, everybody congratulate Asher as the new Youth and Education Chair for Community Board 11.
Congrats.
All right. Thank you, David and Xavier. So we're just gonna keep the meeting going along a little bit. So are we going to, all right. So I saw Dr. Christie was on, so Dr. Christie, take it away with your update, if you have an update.
Thank you, Asher. I apologize. I'm in the middle of commuting, and so I apologize. But I just want to say that we have our CEC meeting tomorrow night, and I will give a full update at tomorrow's session. It's a hybrid. It starts at 6 o'clock. I will have a superintendent's update with a PowerPoint and more robust. I will say that just the month of January is a busy month. As a district, we are deeply committed to supporting all of our families. As you've probably heard in the media about the 60-day notices that are going out to a lot of our newest New Yorkers. We've been really, really proactive to give all of our families support letters and hopefully get them, if they have to move into a housing site that's closer to our schools. There's one opening up on 93rd and 3rd Avenue. And so we're trying to give our D4 families priority to that. So that's one thing that we've been working on. We have our CEC meeting, and then we have our DCEP planning session next week, January 17th at Manhattan Science Center from 9 to 2. I know I emailed out some of the flyers. It's the school leadership teams for all of our schools and our high schools that will be there. That's the 17th. And I'm probably forgetting a lot more. But if you come tomorrow, I'll have a PowerPoint, I'll have concise points. And if not, I can always email it. And I just want to congratulate Asher on their new role. It's so exciting to be a part of this journey, and just you continue to inspire me daily. So thank you. And I put my name in chat, email in the chat. So if you have any pending questions, I'm going to listen, but I am going to try to hop on the subway and listen as long as I can. So thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Christie. So next up is Rosa, CEC4.
Thank you, thank you. Congratulations, Asher. And I have just like 2 slides. If you want to put it up while I'm speaking. We have, like Dr. Christie said, we have our CC meeting tomorrow. Are you able to hear me? Yes?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
We
I
can
can hear
we
you
can
fine.
hear
Okay.
you, Rosa. No problem.
Okay.
Would you like
Thank
for
you,
me
thank
to
you, thank
stop
you.
sharing so you can share your screen, Rosa? Is that what you'd like to do?
It would be great if you could share the slides that I sent out, but if
Um,
not, it's okay. I mean, I have the slides in front of me. I'm not in my computer, so that's why.
I don't have access to the slides immediately, but I would be happy to share it with the committee tomorrow if you'd like.
Definitely. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Of
So
course.
tomorrow we have our CEC meeting for anyone that wants to come in person. It's at PS 102 at 6 p.m. Khalid is going to share the information. We have our Spanish spelling bee at BBMS on January 23rd. We also have the English spelling bee at BBMS on January 30th. We have our Chancellor's Town Hall scheduled for Monday, February 5th in Tito Puente Complex. Everyone is welcome. There will be a registration live stream. Could you please, when Khalid shares the information, that'd be great. We also have a district leadership team meeting the February 1st. And we worked together and they actually presented in person. New York City Public Schools with the mayor have a citywide climate action day in schools, and the second day is February 7th, and it's going to be concentrated on waste. April 17th is on health, wellness, and green space, and June 12th will be on water. And lastly, if you would like to join the CEC, we have 3 vacancies. You can email Faith, and I know Khalid will send out the slides for whoever's interested. And on the next slide, which you cannot see probably, but also there's all our contact information for whoever wants to reach us. And that's all. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Rosa. So we'll make sure to get the slides sent out to the committee. Is there anyone here from CEC5 by any chance? Who's the representative from CEC5?
The
David, you're on
last
mute.
the last person I have on record, Asher, is Gina Williams, but I haven't been able to make contact with them recently. So if you'd like
All right.
tomorrow, we can definitely try to solidify a contact with CEC5.
If
All
I
right.
may, Chair, I believe that Ms. Williams is no longer with CC5. I believe she's working in a political office at this time. So we need to find
Okay.
out who we can find that easily enough.
Yeah. So I guess, is there anyone here from the district attorney's office?
That would normally be Sharima Harvell. I don't believe that they're with us this evening.
Okay. All right, so I guess we'll just move on to the presentation. So David, if you want to take this over, because this is the Children's Aid rebuild. You're on mute.
I'm not here to do the presentation. Yolanda and Martin are here to do the
Is
presentation.
Yolanda, okay.
Yolanda
All
McBride.
right. Is Yolanda and Marty, am I correct with the name Marty here?
Yes, that's correct. Thank you.
Okay. So you have your time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to, I guess, share presentation?
Go ahead. You should have the ability to.
Ability to share? Okay, thank you. Sorry, I'm just having a little. Sorry, everyone. I'm just having a little technical difficulties right now. But I am getting it together. Okay. I have it. Okay.
It's weird having to remember how to use Zoom.
Yeah, it's not for me. I have too many things open on my. I believe this is it.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
hard to navigate in Zoom.
Oh boy. Okay, so let me see. This should be the one. Hmm. Yeah, this is not my day for Zoom and also for PowerPoint. So apologies. 1 minute. Let me.
Yolanda, do you want me to jump in with the plans and
Yeah, I just wanted to give a quick recap in terms of what happened, and then what I can do, I can just pull up the plans. So apologies, everyone. Yolanda McBride, Director of Public Policy and Children's Aid, and just want to thank the Youth and Education Committee, Committee Board 11, for having us here at the last moment. We just wanted to come to you, Children's Aid, to just give you an update on the plans for the new East Harlem Center. Many of you are pretty much aware of a timeline, but just wanted to give a recap. Just basically in spring 2018, Children's Aid, we had announced that we were selling the East Harlem Center basketball court to a developer and temporarily closing the center to rebuild. And it was not met with, we understood that the community was not happy about that. And the initial plan was to build market rate housing by the developer until Councilman Rayala worked with the developer to devise a new plan in kind of like the summer going into the fall of 2018 to do a project with Mount Sinai, Life Changes Church, and Children's Aid. So in 2018, many of you are part of the East Harlem Center Community Advisory Committee. We actually launched that committee to guide Children's Aid in the process of the rebuilding process, and we've been meeting ever since. Unfortunately, COVID happened as we were moving things along, and it slowed down our process in terms of moving the rebuild project forward. But we did finalize and close on the deal in early spring of last year. And tonight we really wanted to give you a look at the designs that have come out of the conversations from the community in summer 2018, and also the East Harlem Center Youth and Youth Services staff at Children's Aid. And so what Marty, and he'll introduce himself, will talk about are the designs. And so that is what I was trying to get to. So bear with me. But go ahead, Marty.
so good evening, everyone. And I'm Marty Baker. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Children's Aid. I've been with the agency now just over 8 months. And so for the past several months, we've been working with Orrin Everhart, the developer of the building, and the Children's Aid's youth team to design the new East Harlem Center. And in the design process, I think, as Yolanda said, we took into account the conversations that were had with the community and with the youth team at Children's Aid when we were designing the space. I think I'm sure you all know, over the summer, the old East Harlem Center was demolished, and as well as an adjacent building. The site is now prepped and ready for the next phase of the project, which the construction on the new East Harlem Center right now is expected to begin in April or May. So it's moving along nicely. And what I want to do now is I want to show you what our current thinking is on the design of the building. And this is pretty much set. There's a couple of things that we still have to finalize, which I'll mention when I go through the plans. But I'm really excited to show you the plans for the new building. The building's been designed with maximum flexibility in mind. So the classrooms and spaces you'll notice will be able to be split into some larger classrooms will be able to split into two classrooms by virtue of adding a folding wall in a number of the classrooms, and then again will make the building and the space as flexible as possible for many different uses. Yolanda, do you want me to just bring up the?
Let's see. Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
If I can,
yeah, it didn't. I can bring it up, and I can bring it up, Marty.
Okay. So the new
everyone.
building.
So
the new building is going to be approximately 19,000 square feet. The old East Harlem Center was about 8,000 square feet. So you can see it's going to be considerably larger than the old building. And okay, here we go. So, so this is what you're going to be looking at. I want to take you through the different floors of the building. And like I said, this is pretty much set with one exception, which I'll get to in a minute. But what you're looking at here is the first floor of the building with the entry, where the entry is on 101st Street. You can see you'll enter into a vestibule and a lobby. There's a reception area, some offices, director's office, an office manager space, a security space. And then you'll see right there in the center is one of the first classroom, a first floor classroom. Behind it, down at the bottom there, is the gymnatorium, as we're calling it. Some of you probably know that the elevation at the back of the building is lower than street level. So the gymnatorium will be below grade, but you can enter it from the first floor and from the first floor entrance. So this is the first floor. Yolanda, you can move to the next floor. Okay, and this is actually the lower level of the building. And the lower level will have, as you can see right in the center, a teaching kitchen. We're excited because there will be a kitchen that different levels of kids, different age kids will be able to come in and learn about cooking. This is the last piece that still is yet to be designed in the space. The size of this, we're working to make it a little larger, and you see it right there. But the kitchen will have a window into the gym, where if meals and events are occurring in the gym, meals can be cooked in the kitchen and can be passed through into the gym where they'll be served. So again, besides the kitchen, you'll see there's some restrooms here on the bottom floor, a bike room and some mechanicals, a trash room, etc. But this is the lower level of the building. Next slide, please. So can you scroll a little, or make it a little smaller, Yolanda? Just for a second. Let's see. Scroll down a little. I just want to see just a little bit more. There we go. Okay, okay. So this is the second floor. You saw the first floor with the entrance. This is the second floor where we start seeing the classrooms. And moving left from right, you can see the classroom that's labeled middle school and summer youth employment. That down the middle of the room has what can be a divider. So that space will be one of the spaces that can be subdivided into two spaces. Moving across to the right, you'll see the summer youth employment office. Then you'll see another classroom labeled middle school and summer youth employment. Again, that's another classroom that can be split, subdivided. And then off to the right there, a health and wellness group classroom. You can see the square footage of each of the rooms. Below that, in the middle of the diagram, you'll see the dance, art, and rec classroom. Again, that's the largest space. It's 944 square feet. That will be a multi-use space. And again, that room too, you can see that the potential divider. That room will be able to be divided right down the middle of the room, so we can split it up if we want for multiple purposes. And you'll see also to the right, you'll see men's and women's restroom. And what you see below is the outdoor basketball court. The outdoor basketball court will be behind the building, the back of the building. Next slide, please. Okay, so just scroll down a little bit more. And here okay, you can go back up. I'm sorry. Just want to make sure. Here's the third floor of the building. Again, some classrooms labeled 4th grade, 5th grade, et cetera. You can see the square footage of the classrooms, and there's a small office up there. Again, you get to see the basketball court behind the building. As I said, the building was designed with as much flexibility as we can, so we can get the most use out of it, different uses out of it. And as I said earlier, it's 18,000 square feet. The old center was about 8,000 square feet, so we're very excited about that. It's going to be significantly larger than the old center. Again, are there any questions about this? Again, right now, the developer anticipates starting construction in April or May. He's in the permitting process, which he describes working with, he has to work with the MTA and Con Ed and get a series of other permits. But he's saying now April or May for the beginning of construction. And he's told me in the past that he thinks it'll be 24 months to complete construction of our space in that building.
And we understand that the construction timeline is a question that everyone has. And so when we do have that firm construction timeline, we will definitely share that with this committee and with the larger community board membership.
All right. Sorry, I was trying to update it. Yeah. Any questions?
Want to add, as the person that will hopefully still be around when we reopen the building as the center director, this is such a dream come true. Even from the initial plans that changed from the summer, has improved the space of the building. And as Marty said, we're working on the kitchen, but I want to highlight that we're developing this kitchen to also be a teaching and learning kitchen for our youth to really learn culinary skills, as we have taken a forefront in just health and nutrition in our programs, and as well as a training center for our health and nutritionists in the agency. Again, the idea is that workforce development will be another added piece to this site, and combining with other supportive services through Children's Aid to supply services to the community in large, as well as our after school and teen programs, as we will continue with those as well. But we're very excited, and we want to thank everybody here that's been part of that process. It's been long, but we will see an end to it, and I'm so glad that all the adjustments were made to make this really a prime location for children and an opportunity for children to meet their potential. Thank you.
Bad, I'm on mute. Does anyone have any questions for Yolanda and Marty? I change this so I can see. Raises her hand. Christina.
Hi, everybody. I'm Christina Johnson. I'm also Lexington House's tenant association president, and I live in the neighborhood. So I have quite a few questions, but I haven't quite fine-tuned them in my head yet. So I'm going to ask the committee if I can reserve the right to submit my questions at a later date.
Yeah, it's fine. I think that's fine. There's no problem with that, right? Yeah, that's fine. Yolanda put her email in the chat, so I would say just take note of that.
All right.
And as Yolanda mentioned, we have quarterly meetings that are open to the public as well. We just had one actually last night, and members here were present, as well as elected officials, representatives, and the community advisory board, Asher and his parents being members as well. So Christina, we will make sure you get an invitation to the next meeting. Christina lives a block away from where the centers actually will be rebuilt. So
Thank you. I appreciate that, David.
All right, anyone else have any other questions? All
No, I
right,
just want to
so,
acknowledge John Green. He spent a lot of time up the hill with us when we had those series of meetings back in 2018 and 2019. So thank you for your support as well, John. I felt it was important to directly acknowledge John's support.
yeah. Thank you, Londa and Marty, for coming on such a last minute. It was a good presentation, and everyone has your emails, so if anyone has any questions that may appear in your head afterwards, just email them. So, yeah. Thank you.
I'm also putting in the chat, we have a website, for the rebuild process, and all the recordings, except for last night's, should be up on the website. And that is another way to stay in touch with, what's happening with the rebuild process. But you can also reach out to me directly. Cell phone number and email address is there.
Thank you again. So we're gonna move the meeting along because we have to do the mission statement. If we remember when we were in person, the mission statement ended up being an essay instead of a statement. So we're gonna try to shorten it. David, do you have what we did during that? Does anyone have what we did during that in-person meeting?
I'll look it
You're
up
on
right
the-
now, Ash. Give me 1 second.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna see if oh, there it is. So basically our goal for tonight is just to shorten this a little bit. So if Khalid, if you could scroll down just so everyone can have a minute to read it, and then I'll entertain any questions on how we could shorten it or suggestions.
So Ash, if I may add,
Yeah.
what I didn't do was add everything that we had put before. I left it as the original mission and go back to it for two reasons. One, as you said, we need to edit what we've already had and to be more focused. And two, it's now under your chair and leadership. And since we hadn't made any final decisions, I give it to you and you shall take us forward.
Oh, okay. All right. So if everyone, same thing, just read it and then we will decide what we need to take out. And taking out doesn't necessarily mean we're excluding anyone. We just need to find some way to generalize it and not necessarily, you know, it's a little bit long. So I'll give you all a minute. All right, was everyone able to read it? Yeah. All right. Christina, is that an old hand?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay. All right, Rev Scott.
Good evening, everybody. I think that one place we can kind of, if we're just trying to trim the fat a little bit, maybe it says the Youth and Education Committee advocates for funding programs and policies that support youth to secure a college education. I think this sentence doesn't have to be that long. That was what I was gonna say. I don't know if you need. Yeah, go.
Yeah. My suggestion would have been to shorten it to support youth in their
Career goals.
futures.
Yeah, something like that.
We don't necessarily have to name everything that someone could do after high school.
Yeah.
Jennifer?
I think it could just be to support youth, period, because it could be with their career goals, it could be like mental health, could be anything. And I would also support maybe like youth and learners, since we cover the youth, but we're not covering other folks that might be seeking higher education that maybe, or any type of education that didn't get a chance to when they were a youth.
I agree.
Okay. David? You're on mute, David.
This is one of the interesting points I thought we get caught up on. When we say that support youth, right? We don't only support youth on this committee. Who do we support as a community board? We support people who live in the community. We support people who work in the community and that attend school in the community, right? So even youth, do we say youth, adults? And I think that's what we got caught up in making this longer by all learners, English language. We support anyone in Community Board 11 who wants to secure a college education or those things. See, I think that's where we got caught up in wanting to not leave anybody out, that we became encompassed and wanted to include everybody. And that's where it gets longer. That's just my thought.
We could be like, the Youth and Education Committee advocates for funding programs and policies that support anyone within East Harlem who is trying to.
You're getting long again. No, so you're getting long again. We support.
I'm trying to shorten the whole entire thing, if that makes sense. Rev
We
Scott.
support learners, period, just anyone who's learning anything.
Yeah, period.
Yeah.
I also think that we don't need to say this secure college education, because people's educational goals may be a bit different. I think learners, period, would be good, like Jen is saying.
Can I jump in?
Yeah.
So I'm reading this first sentence. It is really long. So I was kind of thinking the way to shorten this is to remove some of this. So I'm thinking the Youth and Education Committee advocates for funding programs and policies that support youth to secure an education, careers, and economic stability for them and their families.
But then the only thing is that excludes the older learners within, like, we're not just talking about youth. That's what we were saying. I think the suggestion to just say programs and policies that support learners, period, is it's good.
Why can't it just be individuals? Support all community individuals. That
sounds good too.
And the only reason is because when we start defining, we want it to be open for anybody.
Yeah. John Green.
Well, I was looking at it and it says where it says I say support youth in all phases of life, and you cover everything.
So we could put like support learners throughout all ways of life or ages of life. What was your word?
That's actually, let me change that. It says that support youth. Let's see. That support youth in all phases of life. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah. So I think, to be honest, we just rewrite it starting with that first sentence. And do I have access to this, Khalid? Is there some way we can edit this?
Not right now. I mean, I could send it to you in a Word document. That's just a.
Okay.
Russell? I'm sorry, Russ, go ahead.
I would say first, I would not use secure more so than pursue. And use community members, period.
We said that we were going to get rid of all of that altogether. That was the general, like, what I was hearing.
We can't serve everybody. We can serve everybody by just saying, in my opinion, by saying community members, because we are focused on Community Board 11. And we should be definitive in the things that we can do. We can't do everything, all things, but that's impossible. So we should think about things that we can realistically focus on and achieve and help people pursue something. Because if we can support people to do what they want to do in pursuing it, we cannot or should not be responsible if they can secure it or not. We're just putting them on the right path to do that.
I feel like we're getting a little bit like we were before, too much into like nitpicking stuff in general. I think it should just, if it could be my goal is to make this like a sentence or two, to be completely honest, because then it's a statement and it's not necessarily we get a little bit dangerous when we keep going because then it's gonna get too wordy. David?
It's supposed to be broad enough. It's supposed to be broad enough and doable. To make it less
I think if we start with the beginning, it's good. Support and then take out youth. And as I think I was going to say individuals, but Russell said it better, community members or community board 11 members, right? To pursue careers, education, careers, and choosing of their own. Yeah. And then period, right? For them or their families. Again, it starts getting crazy. Our education.
And then just leave it there. Because that includes
I'm
everyone.
not saying that, but
community members.
It can be this education and career opportunities of their choosing.
Right.
We're getting wordy again. That's the problem. We're getting wordy because if we're going to continue from there.
Right, but we've cut it down. First, you have to define youth. We got to take out youth because we're not just about youth. Although it's a lot focused on youth, we always said, and that was the work that Reverend Brown had advocated when she was on this committee, was the adult learners, right? And we provided a lot of programmings coming in to present for the adult learners. That's not youth. So I thought, you can edit it down, but education should include and encompass all learners. See, we could take that section out now.
Yeah.
Because we're saying it by community members. It doesn't matter. That encompasses whether you're, English as second language, whether you have special needs, all learners,
Okay.
We advocate for academic excellence and social justice in our community, period. Right?
Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to type some of this down.
I don't know if we need to say we develop and maintain positive relationships. That's part of the work we do. We strive to give direct voice to youth and community members and to assist groups in any way possible to consistent with our mission.
Yeah, that looks correct. Yeah, that sounds correct. I mean, does anyone have anything else they would like to add? Or take out? It's more taking out than adding. Russell, is that an old hand?
Old hand, but I can add, I think it should be 2 sentences, and it should be all the other stuff that's on the bottom of this. These are the things that are achieved with those 2 sentences. If I were to say, the Youth and Education Committee advocates for funding, programs, and policies that support community members to pursue education and career opportunities of their own choosing, as a sentence. We could put something else in there.
Right. We could take out the second line, and then we advocate for.
And then whatever the second sentence would be, I didn't get that as I'm thinking because I'm not writing on this. It will be a second sentence that could be something a little more definitive. And then below that, what it could achieve. Things that we I don't believe that anybody's not going to be advocating for academic excellence, social justice, and all those things. Those are things that could be achieved. That's just in the doing. But what we stand for should be
Russell,
in 2 sentences.
If I may, I really feel strong about that one sentence because I think that's what we do. And academic excellence is not just for youth, it's also for the adult programs that service. It's about the recidivism rate of youth coming or young adults coming out. See, I think we do. We advocate for programs of policy that support people's dreams, right? We advocate for excellence and social justice to make sure people get that opportunity. And we strive to give a voice, and then we cut out all that stuff in between. See, I could talk more now in my role as a member than as the chair.
Yeah.
Khalid has
Khalid, yeah, Khalid.
In terms of just specifying for the individuals, you guys can really just say the Manhattan Community Board 11 Youth and Education Committee and just say East Harlem residents. That would be all encompassing as a suggestion to make it simple for you guys.
Yeah. I liked that, and I liked what David said because, and what Russell said, keep it to like 2 sentences because a lot of the stuff is all, I forgot the word. It's all inclusive with the 2 sentences. So David, if you could write down repeat what you said, I would write it down or something. And then we could, anyone else have anything? Russell?
No, I'm good. I'm good. I appreciate Khalid's input.
All right. David, could you repeat what you said? And then we could like basically, how would we do this? We type it up and then we send it to the committee and next month we would vote on it. I can't hear you, David. You still on mute?
That would
Oh,
be
there you
fine. I mean, the decision is yours. You know.
Yeah. All right. So basically, David, if you could repeat kind of what you were saying, we'll type it up.
The Youth and Education Committee advocates for funding programs, policies that support either community members or, as Khalid said, East Harlem residents. You know, but again, that always gets crazy because then we select the school. But anyway, we'll secure that word. To pursue, as Russell said, careers of their own choosing. No, to education and careers of their own choosing. Period. Then we advocate for excellence in academic knowledge of social justice issues in our community. We strive to give a direct voice to community members, focusing on youth to assist with groups in any way possible, or I would say youth and young adult groups, because that's a lot of who we address. But see, I think what we do is we cut out half of it already.
All right. Sorry.
So David, if I could interject 1 second. So
please.
Those extra things that I'm saying, if we have 2 sentences that defines what we're doing, what we propose to do, should be doing, must do. And after those 2 sentences, we could put a statement that starts off by saying, in doing so, you can do all that other stuff. Advocate for excellence, social justice, blah, 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 blah. Because we have the 2 statements that we're doing. All the other stuff is like, we suppose those are the impacts that we want to make.
I'm fine. And my decision was?
I'm trying to think. If everyone agrees, what we could do is, like I said before, type something up and I'll send it to the committee. I'll make it a shareable document that everyone can like see and make comments on it. And then we can once we figure something out. I'm trying to decide how to do this, to be honest.
So why don't we continue to go through the meeting? Let me see if I can pull up the document and make a few changes.
All right. Khalid, is that an old hand?
I don't know if I can on this computer. This is the music computer. Shoot.
Sorry, that is an old hand. Also, I'll do a draft transcription of the minutes in the coming business days. So I'm going to be reviewing this recording. So I'll also be able to just create the shared document in the board member drive and just make sure everyone has access to, editing and such.
It might
Okay.
only be in, oh, it might be in my drive. Because that's where I pulled it from. Originally. Dead Asher.
I'm trying to think. So is everyone okay with doing that where we have the shared drive? And we could, we just need to get this done by the next meeting. I would prefer just so we could vote on it next month. So is everyone in agreement with that? All right.
Yes.
So I guess we can continue, and if anyone has any comments, just email David or I, and we can work on it. Then give Khalid a second to put the PowerPoint back up. All right. Is that all we had?
Pretty much. We did go over the transition of committee leadership during announcements, but I did have it under new business.
Okay. So if anyone doesn't have anything else, any new business or announcements quickly? All right. So, I guess we could adjourn the meeting there. That was a pretty quick meeting.
Would you like to do roll call first, and then we can adjourn?
Oh yeah, roll call. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Give me 1 second. Okay, committee members, Karim Kauser. Still not with us. Rosa Diaz. Did Rosa step out? Maybe she might be away. David Giordano.
I'm here.
John Green.
Out.
Annie Hansen.
I'm here.
Christina Johnston.
Present.
Sage Mason. I don't see Sage with us anymore. Jennifer
He
Meyer.
said- yeah,
Present.
Asher Rodriguez.
present.
Isaac Scott.
Present.
Russell Schuler.
Present.
And unless Rosa wants to confirm anything, that's it, Chair.
All right, so the meeting is adjourned at 7:26. Rosa put in the chat that she couldn't unmute.
I see.
So-
I'm seeing that. Understood. Thanks, Rosa.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
He's got to leave early.
Hi, good night.
Good
Good night,
night.
all.
Good night,
Good night,
all.
everybody.
Thank you, Asher. Thank you, Khalid.
Thank you, David. Speak later. Good night.